This is Darqun with a letter from America. The last time I mentioned sports, I got the responses that I expected, with an underlying and, more than a bit, of religious faith in sports and sports stars. The letter showed that fanaticism in sports, of which the typical male in the U.S. and other places faithfully focus their lives. However, even as I wrote this letter, I knew that sports are tools, and as such, sports are in themselves neither good nor bad, but can create or destroy by the will of the craftsman. Sports, since the time of the ancient Greeks, serve as instruments of diplomacy at many levels of society. The most famous of these is the Olympics, which served and continues to serve as a diplomatic tool between nations. It also serves understanding and transcends cultural barriers. However, it is not the global side of sports that is of immediate concern, but more of a local focus. Yes, sports are a distraction from the realities and even the important factors of life, but they are also a civil way to release frustrations between communities. Typically, the biggest game for any team in a given year is the rivalry game. The rivalry game is a meeting of two teams that are usually close in proximity to each other, have similar interests, but also have opposing viewpoints on those interests. For the Pittsburgh Steelers American football team, it is the Cleveland Browns. For the Birmingham City Football Club, it is Aston Villa Villains. For the Army, it's Navy. For the local school, it is a school across the river. The list goes on. For a good rivalry, the teams need to be located near each other, have similar interests, opposing views, and at a competitive level of play. Of course, and on the most basic level, each must have a team in a common sport. A good setting is that the teams have a record of wins against each other that are so close that the outcome is nearly unpredictable. The contrary is also true. A good rivalry can exist where one team has a winning streak that the other struggles to break, such as Army versus Navy in American football, or the Pirates versus the Brewers in baseball. These rivalries on the surface seem to tear apart the fabric of civilization as the fans prepare for the game. Each side badmouths the other. Sometimes they steal the mascot or a major trophy from the other team. Some fanatics will destroy the property of the opposing team or even of the opposing town. Often fights will break out between the fans of the rivalry teams. However, underneath the apparent hatred for each other is the vent. Each fan for either team lets out steam by supporting their team and tormenting the other. The hometown for each team becomes emotionally closer and petty concerns are forgotten, sometimes for the duration of the game, sometimes longer, and sometimes permanently. Some sports even host a rivalry week, in which teams are paired up to play the rivalry sometime during that week. It begins as a time of high tensions, but ends as an inter-community celebration. Though some teams, such as almost any professional level team in Philadelphia, use the rivalry as an excuse to be uncivilized, rude, and even to act irresponsibly, most rivalries end with a clear decision and a feeling of "we did it again" or "wait until next time" attitude, depending on if that team won or lost the round. For the next meet, the fans of the winning team will repeatedly announce their win and brag about it, and the losers will entrench an attitude that mirrors that of military strategists. In either case, the fans of one team might honor the other team, but will never admit to the other team being superior. Though sports remain as a distraction to real issues, they are also a venting release from both the daily pressures of work and from life itself. Sports, as any other tool, can be used to destroy or to create. Though sports are almost, or are religion to many, they allow for the individual to express emotions that are not normally expressed during the ritualized daily routines. How many times do you hear cheering for a job completed, or some celebrity announcing progress on a job-related task? Most sports fanatics, or fans for short, sit and cheer on their team and jeer for the rivalry team. Being at the Army versus Navy game would be a great venture. My family was Navy while I was Army. Clearly, I would sit on the Army side, and my parents, brother and sister, would sit on the Navy side. However, when politics come into play, and especially for those that cannot make a decision or take a stand, perhaps you can change sides at the midpoint in the game. Exemplifying his strong stances, President Obama changed sides during the halftime of the Army versus Navy game. He does two sports, but he does in office. This has been A Letter from America. Over and out.